Morning, guys. It's Friday, and I am breaking every rule in the book this morning as far as when it comes to doing videos. Um, um, I've had a really, really good morning. Um, I just, between a couple of blogs that I've read from, pastors that they've posted, to some videos of some things that I'm interested in. It's been a really good morning. I am fired up today. I also had a little bit of a learning experience this morning that kind of set me off on wanting to do what I'm doing here today in the topic of this particular video. So excuse me. But I'm thankful that it's Friday. I'm thankful that God has given me another day to be able to be here with you guys. For those of you who do watch, but again, it's not about the recognition, or it's not about any of the things that I do. It's about the opportunity to serve the Lord, and I'm thankful for that. So first things first this morning, I had a little bit of a learning experience in the idea of letting things go. And I know my example is going to seem kind of small, but it's applicable. I have a fairly extensive collection of these plaid kind of country-esque style shirts. And I've had them for a few years now. And unfortunately this morning, one of them had had enough of me. That's right down like the back. And it also tore out in the front. If I can find that. Right there. Now, I'm by no means like a big guy. I do wear clothes that are fit my shape, and I'm comfortable with myself. But this has been one of my favorite shirts, and it had had enough. Like it had had enough of me. And like for a minute I was sad, but then like I was just like, it's time to move on from this. And as kind of a weird connection that might be, it got me to thinking about some things that I'm very that are very near and dear to my heart in our culture, and especially in within the scope of the church for us Christians, about letting things go and moving on, because moving on means progress, moving forward, and that's vital for what we do as the church, and not just in the way we present ourselves necessarily, or the tools that we use in order to do what we do, but in really fully kind of exposing ourselves to this world that we're attempting to serve, and by doing that, allowing God to work more effectively through us by not hindering what it is that He's doing by getting in the way. Stepping out of our comfort zones, getting out of the boat, so to speak, just having complete faith in what the Lord is doing. And that can be difficult sometimes. Even this morning for me, something as small as the way my hair is, and I know my hair looks ridiculous. I really didn't do a whole lot with it at all today. And I have fairly long hair. But my wife came across this style that's come around now. It's been around for a little while, called the man bun for men with longer hair, and she thinks it's attractive. and it's I've worn it a couple of times around the house, and for me though, having my hair kind of pulled up and pulled back and not having my head covered with like a hat or something, it's a little intimidating. I don't have the greatest hairline. I don't have the fullest head of hair on top, and I'm not afraid to admit that. But this morning, I was just like, step out of the boat. I know it seems small, but it's applicable. We need to be willing to stretch ourselves and allow ourselves to be stretched, and moving past our comfort zones. And so with that being said, I read a blog this morning that was posted by a pastor of the church in North Jersey, and they have this applied concept in their church of invitation and challenge, and some churches call it care and confrontation. They use the terms invitation and challenge, and basically what the premise is, and it's the idea of it is in some way is based off of 1 John 1:7. The idea is the invitation aspect is creating an environment that signifies and openly shows people that, you know, you don't have to be to this standard in order to come before God, or if you have accepted Christ in order to grow in your relationship with God. The idea is that we create an environment that, you know, invites people in and lets them know that it's okay to be okay. That those aspects of who we are, because we're shielded as people, it's natural. We all have things that, for the most part, most of us have things that we don't necessarily want to share with other people. You know, whether it's you know, it's secrets that we keep from our past, or just being guarded, not wanting to let people see who we really are, in fear that they're not going to like who we really are. You know, because that happens a lot, whether it's in society or within the church, it does happen. And, you know, but creating this environment where people genuinely feel that it's okay to be okay. It's okay to be themselves. It's okay to open up and expose themselves. And, you know, which is really vital to having a relationship with the Lord, whether you're searching and you're not quite there yet, or whether you have accepted Christ and you're looking to grow. You know, it's at whatever stage, that's very important. You know, and first John 1:7 says this: "But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another. And the blood of Jesus, his son, purifies us from all sin." So, you know, it's not, you know, necessarily just important, the idea of creating this environment, but it's also, you know, necessary that we as the people who are attempting to facilitate this environment have done this as well. You know, that we have exposed ourselves, brought all that we are, good, bad, indifferent, into the light, and have dealt with those things, you know, and, you know, have sought, you know, out, you know, counsel and help for these things that about ourselves that scare us so much. We've already walked this path, so when new people come and we have the opportunity to serve those people, we can say, "Hey, I've been where you are, and it's okay." Yeah, everything doesn't have to be perfect, because it's never going to be. But it's okay. You know, we all have that, and you know, and genuinely doing that, because it can be very difficult to do that. You know, from every aspect, and it's vital that the people who are serving others have walked that path as well, because it's very difficult to get somebody to open up and to bear themselves if you've never done it yourself. You know, so, but then, you know, getting through that, creating that environment, having genuinely done it, so that we can encourage other people to do it and help other people do it, you know, and allowing God to work through us to help them do it. Then, you know, as time goes on and that relationship develops, and it's vital that there is a relationship there, you know, and it's got to kind of go just beyond the kind of pupil-teacher type thing. I mean, not necessarily all the time, because everybody has, you know, every relationship is different, but that there is a genuine relationship there, you know, at least to the extent where people know that what you're doing because you genuinely do care, and you do want to help them, and not just the idea that this is where I serve, this is what I do. You because I mean I've seen it with teens before, serving in teen ministries before. I mean you can be there and you can serve, you know, in the teen ministry and because you love to serve, and the teen ministry is a great opportunity. But if you cannot connect with the teens, they know it. Like they know it. And I mean, it's that relationship is so very important and to them, and the legitimacy and the genuineness of that relationship is important. And like you don't have to be their buddy or their best friend, but they need to genuinely see in you that you care about them. You know, and the same goes for adults as well. You know, so creating that environment, you know, having exposed yourself prior to being involved in this, and then genuinely creating that relationship where they can see that you really do care, even if you're not best friends, even if you're not even friends, that you genuinely do care. And then as that relationship develops, eventually there comes a point in time where this challenge aspect kicks in, where we say, you know, yeah, it's okay to be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. And at that point, you know, being there for them and helping them to let go of, remove themselves from, or move beyond these things that are hurting them, or that they can't let go of, or you know, that you know, the sin that just has a hold of them, and you know, and is just holding them down and keeping them from getting closer to God. And because we need to be growing. You know, it's great to understand that it's okay to be okay, but you know, we're always going to be okay. We're never going to be, you know, good or great or perfect. You know, it's always going to be okay. We're going to make mistakes, and it's going to happen. But there's nothing wrong with that. But it is important to move forward, to progress forward, to leave behind the things that hold no value to us getting closer with God and attempting to become more like Christ. Because those things will only hinder us from being able to be effectively used by the Lord, or will hinder us from allowing ourselves to be used by God. I mean, God will use us, you know, regardless, but it doesn't help when we get in the way of that. So it's these things, as you know, as they were presented to me this morning, they struck a chord, because it is so very important, you know, and you know, especially the genuineness and the relationship aspect, and you know, for new believers or people who are searching and really searching God, for them to recognize that, you know, we're all okay. you know, very few of us are good. None of us are great. You know, but it's okay to be at that stage, because there's so much room for growth. There's so much that has to be done, you know, on our end, as far as wanting to become closer to God and wanting to be more Christ-like. And it's just, we just have to, we need to open ourselves up, that that's vital. And we also need to be willing to change, you know, and be willing to let God change us, because there are people who don't. I know God can do whatever He chooses, but I've seen people who haven't changed. And you know, and that's a very real thing. So but I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks again for stopping by, for those of you who have. And you know, I just, you know, I hope these videos don't in any way I don't know everything. I don't. Literally, my inspiration comes from what I read in the Word, you know, what other resources that I venture into, pastors' blogs, stuff like that. And it's just, if something strikes a chord with me, I like to share, and it's genuinely just purely out of the opportunity to serve. And so I appreciate anybody who watches this, and I'm genuinely in prayer that what I'm doing is useful, and or can be useful at some point. So thanks again, guys. Have a great weekend. And I'll probably see you next week. All right, have a good one. Bye.